So what we're going to do is we're going to look at empowered educators. They look at 5 different jurisdictions. So they look at Australia, Canada, Finland, Shanghai, and Singapore. And one of the things to note about recruitment is that recruitment starts with the reputation of teaching, right? That's true here. That's true around the world. That's true anywhere. That's true with anything that is popular out there. What's the reputation? And that matters a lot. Teaching currently in California, bad reputation. Teaching in jurisdictions where their education systems are really effective, that's not the case. And it starts off, honestly, in my opinion, with pay. So in those 5 jurisdictions, teachers make anywhere between 90% to 105% of similarly trained graduates. That's going to be a hard one for me to say, or to put out there, a hard word. So how does California compare? Well, California's teachers make about 85% of similarly trained graduates. So we're not quite there yet. So here's some examples of how they do it. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. Singapore ties their teacher salaries to the salaries of civil service engineers and accountants. And that scales, again, with time. So, the longer you teach, the more pay you get, or the more education that you have, the higher pay you also get. They also do like different roles, and I'm going to go and do a whole separate podcast on that later on. Another way that you can do it is you can just base it on the averages. So in Ontario, Canada, they try to set their pay to being competitive with all graduates that have like a university degree and a little bit of education on top of that, to the point where in 5 years, teachers are in the 75th percentile of those graduates with a university degree. And after working 10 years, they're actually in the 90th percentile. So their pay goes way up with time. And that pay is one part of the recruiting process, right? So if you want a prestigious job, it better come with prestigious pay, right? And that's how you recruit like the best candidates. The other part of prestige is exclusivity. So if anyone can do something, it ain't all that special, right? So most people could, jump, right? You can just jump off like a step or whatever. And so when we see somebody jump off a step, is that special? Not really, right? However, if you see like a 12-month-old jump off a step, that's way more impressive. Why? Because 12-month-olds are not that good at even walking. So seeing one jump off a step is pretty impressive. So there's this thing about exclusivity that makes people want to jump in. And you probably remember this, like if you were in, around college age and trying to get into like nightclubs and stuff, you would see that the clubs that were, the best or had the best reputations were exclusive. They were willing to have somebody stand at the door and say, you can get in, but you cannot get in. And there's like it's pretty obvious who can get in and who can't get in, right? So that exclusivity actually increases the reputation of teachers. So how do you increase exclusivity? Exclusivity is actually also a part of how hard it is to actually get in. So here's an example. So in Finland, only 1 in 10 primary school teacher education candidates get in. And in order to get in, they have to pass an application. They have to do free response essays, written out tests, and they do in-person interviews. In Singapore, you have to pass a CV screen, a 3-hour written exam, which is one of the most intense ones that I saw of these jurisdictions, in-person interviews. And then on top of that, while you're in the program, you're constantly getting monitored, right? So that's the other big thing. The other big thing that I saw that actually kind of helps out with the prestige is kind of like lowering barriers to financial barriers, but keeping the barrier of ability high. So most of these jurisdictions either made your teacher preparation program free, or they would give you a stipend. In Singapore, for example, you start earning your teacher pay the moment you get accepted into a teacher program, right? Now, the bad part about that is if you don't complete the program, you have to pay all that money back. But most teachers, because they passed that intense first part, actually stick with teaching. So not very many of them have to wind up paying that money back.